Okay, so today I am working on a 1999 F350 diesel utility truck with a 4R100. And I wanted to go over a fairly common problem that is repairable without pulling a transmission out of the car. Okay, so the complaint would be, I guess it would be they were complaining about maybe a late shift or a long 1-2 shift when it's actually shifting 1-3. Okay, and the problem is the spring breaks on the 1-2 shift valve. So at that point it would shift 1-3. Now this is only amongst certain valve bodies with the casting numbers RFF6 and RFF8. Which is probably around, I would say, this is only on the, the later ones, maybe like 98 and up. I just finished rebuilding an E4OD for a 91 pickup truck that's actually being shipped overseas, and that does not pertain to this. That casting number is RFE9. So that doesn't have this. This again, I guess, is pretty much just for the 4R100s, I believe 98 and up. So I'm gonna show you where the casting numbers are. We're gonna change out the spring on the 1-2 shift valve. Now the spring is located in the valve body, in this section of the valve body, and then on top of that you have to remove a lower section, another section of the valve body. And there's check balls in here. Sometimes there's 4, sometimes there's 5. Again, this is only with this casting numbers. Earlier models you may just have 2, but we're just going to work with the casting numbers that it calls for, the RFF6 and the RFF8. All right, so we're going to go through a scenario that you take the section of the valve body off, the plate off, and maybe the check balls fall out. You're not sure if it takes 4 or 5, so we're going to go over how to tell that as well. All right, now again, this probably is, I've seen this quite often, and it's to the point where Transgo includes the spring on in their shift kits. Okay, so it's just a little package that comes with one spring. Depending on the casting, you may be able to use it and you may not be able to use it, so I definitely keep these, because this will even come in the earlier style. It actually comes in all overhaul kits. I'm sorry, all shift kits, because there's really only one kit for all the years. So it does come in the shift kit. So that tells you right there it's fairly common. I just recently helped out a friend of mine. He actually owns a shop a few towns away, and it's one of his closest friends. So he called me up and he said he had it checked out. They want to sell him a transmission. Could we do anything? And I asked him what the problem was. And he said it's shifting long, has a late shift on the 1-2, and I said it probably has no second, and I explained to him what to do, and he brought me this section of the valve body, and of course the spring was broken, so we fixed it up and he sent him on his way. Alright, so let me get a little closer, and I'll show you where to find the casting numbers. Even on the outside of the transmission you should have a casting number, and that would tell you if you should drop the pan to try to address this problem. But again, only on these models is when I see it. There are other things that can cause no second, like for instance maybe a sprag that had failed for second. But if we're dealing with certain year, then more than likely the spring is broken. The only time I've seen this problem with the later ones, like the 98s and up, has been a broken spring. I mean, it is again possible for other things to cause no second, but I've only seen broken springs cause no second, and that's before we went into the unit and did the overhaul. That's what the complaint was. Let's put it that way. All right, so I will get a little closer and I'll get onto the valve body here. And then we'll start by changing out the spring. I'll remove the valve train. Again, we're going to go through the check balls. And there's a couple of bolts. You can drop this whole thing out as one piece. And there's 2 bolts that you can leave in, so you can remove the lower section of the valve body on the bench. And also check balls we'll go over if it takes either 4 or 5 check balls. Okay, so let me get a little closer and we will get started. Okay, so we're going to take the clip out. Okay, here is the clip. Alright, so we'll put that aside. And the good thing about these bore plugs with this particular trans is they are threaded. So I took a valve body bolt here. Plug comes out. Now we're going to have a little valve to come out first. Okay. Let me get a rag here, put this on. And then the valve train, the valve and spring. Okay. So this is the spring that likes to break. All right, and when it's broken, you pull that lower section of the valve body off. You'll see it right in here, all busted up. Okay, so now we're going to put the new spring on. And we got it in the kit, and it comes with a little paper to show you about the casting numbers and everything. Okay, so this is the spring. I like to put a dab of grease on it because sometimes it doesn't stay on. Okay. Okay, so that is the new one. There is the spring here. Okay, all right. Now, to show you where the casting numbers are on the valve body, okay, if you, I'm holding it like this, there's a casting number here that you could read. There's also on this one, there's a casting number here. All right, but just say this thing comes in with a long shift, it's like a 98, 99, and you're not 100% sure. Here is the extension housing, and I got a casting number of RFF8 right on here. According to the shift kit, they do want you to go by the valve body casting, but I think chances are if you have an RFF8 here, you're going to have the same thing on the valve body, or with this casting number, you'll know that it does pertain to this problem of no second or the complaint of a long shift. Okay, now, this is going to take 4 check balls, and I'm going to put the check balls in place, and I'm going to get up close. This takes 2 large ones, and it can take up to 3 small ones. All right, so I'm going to get up close, and I'm going to show you the check ball locations here, and the possible one that it, 5th one that it could take, because you're always going to find 3 in the same spot, and the question is of one other one, if it's going to take it or it's not going to take it. Actually, you're always going to probably find 4 in the same spot like this one, and the question is with the 5th one. And that is going to be determined by the separator plate. You're either going to have 2 holes over the spot where it takes the ball, or you're going to have 1 hole. Okay, so 2 holes, it takes the check ball, 1 hole it does not. Now I'm going to get up close, and we're going to take a look at the check balls, and we're going to take a look at the plate. All right, so let me just adjust the camera for that. Okay, so the 4 check balls we got here, we got one here. This is a large one. This is a large one. Okay, then we have two small ones, one here, one here. And the other one that it may take, depending on the year, would be the fifth one would be here. Okay, so you're always going to have pretty much, if it's 4, these are the spots that they're going to be in. And the questionable one would be this one. All right, so just say the scenario is you're dropping this thing out of the car. And another thing that I wanted to go over is you got to drop this whole section out of the car. Okay, so when this is together, this is what it looks like. Okay, this is how you'll see it in the car. And there's 2 short bolts that hold the 2 halves together that go here. Okay, so these bolts you want to leave in to keep everything together until you get it on the bench. These bolts are long. Okay, this is the size. And they would, come out of here. And then, of course, there's shorter ones that would come out of here. So you take all these out, all these except for these 2, and leave everything together to get it on the bench. Okay, this way when you take it apart, you can just pull this off like that. And then you can pull the plate off, and then you can see as far as where the check balls go. Okay, so let's say that you dump it on the bench or the check balls fall out and you're not sure if it takes 4 or 5. Okay, so first, again, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the question is, does one go here? And this is how you tell. If you put the plate over, okay, you see right here, there's a check ball here, there are 2 holes. Okay, so that takes a check ball. Here, we only have 1. 1 hole, so no check ball goes there. If it would look similar to this, a check ball would go here as well. But we have 1 here with the 2 holes, and we have 1 hole, no check ball. All right, so that is how you tell if it takes that 5th check ball or not. All right, and I'll give you a shot again of these check balls, and the casting number again is here. And that's pretty much what it goes by, but again, you can look on the case behind the linkage, like where the neutral switch is, you should see a casting number. And again, on the extension housing, you should see a casting number. And that pretty much could tell you if it would handle this spring or not. And if you have a long shift with that casting number, chances are that spring is broken. It's pretty common to the point where, Transgo is putting in their shift kits. So it's definitely something that I see quite often. And that's it on this quick tip for this 99 F350 diesel utility truck. Is for a cement company that is in the next town. We do all their work on their trucks. And I just wanted to share this with you. This is repairable without pulling a transmission out of the car. It's just, pulling this one section of the valve body. But if you have a 1-3 shift and that casting number, more than likely, there's a very good percentage chance that this is your problem. Alright, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Well, once again, I thank you for watching. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.